Redesigned Naira become legal tender to run alongside existing notes until January 31st, 2023. Nigeria's inflation rises 21.47% in November 2022. Federal, states and local governments share 902 billion naira November 2022 revenue at FAC meeting. Plus, sugar sector attracts $3 billion investments in 10 years. This is Business Express on the network service of the NT, and we're reaching you from Abuja, the nation's capital. I am Musa Abubakar, your guide. Let's bring you up to speed with business development. The Federation Account Allocation Committee, FAC, has shared a total sum of 902.053 billion naira November 2022 Federation account revenue to the federal government, states and local government councils. This was contained in a communique issued at the end of the committee's meeting for December 2022. A statement by Henshaw Ogubike, Director, Information, Press and Public Relations Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, shows that the total distributable revenue comprised distributable statutory revenue of 681.079 billion naira, distributable value-added tax 202.839 billion naira, exchange gain revenue of 7.164 billion naira and 10.971 billion naira, electronic money transfer levy revenue. Balance in the excess crude account was $473,754.57. According to the communique, the month of November 2022, oil and gas royalties and petroleum profit tax recorded significant increases, while import and excise duties increased marginally. However, value-added tax and companies' income tax decreased considerably. Redesigned Naira notes begin circulation, although most Abuja residents who besieged banks to seek them this Thursday were disappointed at the limited edition. Lekatum Babatunde reports that sources within the deposit money banks say it will surely go around, but not at the pace expected by the public.
Precisely on the 26th of October 2022, we got invited to the Central Bank of Nigeria for an emergency briefing, which was eventually going to change the look of Nigerian currencies, perhaps forever. Now, Governor Emefiele announced that the currency was going to be redesigned, and of course, he gave his reasons for that, to include counterfeiting and other sharp practices.
Furthermore, we believe that the currency will help deepen our drive to entrench cashless economy, as it will be complemented by increased minting of our e-Naira.
Some weeks after that, the president unveiled the newly designed currency, and today being the 15th of December, just as the bank had notified the general public, the new currencies are out. 1,500 and 200 naira notes.
It's a new horizon. It's what Nigeria will be longing for.
I prefer the 500, the green color. It's looking like a foreign currency.
Okay, how about 200 and 1,000?
200 is good, but the 1,000 is looking somehow.
Just the color. But I like the 500 and the 200.
The redesign is good. This is because if it hadn't been done, the concerns would increase. These ones are more beautiful.
A journey to a number of ATMs show that no machine within the vicinities we've been to has been loaded, and we went into some of the banking halls, and of course the currencies were in limited supply, with assurances by banking officials that in the coming days and weeks, the money distribution is going to permeate. In Abuja, my name is Leah Katun Babatunde, NTA News.
And now to eNaira, a total of 1 million eNaira free interest loan has been disbursed to 20 market women in Ekit local government area of Akwa Ibom State by the eNaira Community Multipurpose Cooperative Society in collaboration with the Central Bank of Nigeria. Kelvin Samuel reports.
A digital currency backed by law and issued by the Central Bank of Nigeria as part of effort to enhance the cashless policy of the federal government in a bid to fight corruption. However, after the launch of the eNaira in October 2021, many are yet to key into this policy for one reason or the other. This has necessitated the first ever free interest eNaira loan to market women to help women in rural communities to understand the importance and use of the eNaira.
Oh, I'm super excited. Well, I didn't even expect it so sudden. eNaira is the best.
But with eNaira, I think if all of us join hands together, it will be easy for Nigerians.
It's going to help me with my studies. If I can make money from here, I'll be able to take care of little things that I cannot get from home.
It will make all the women in the market to profit and to have something to do, to add their money, to make their business to grow up.
According to the organizers, eNaira, which has come to stay, was carefully designed to ensure safety, flexibility, and help reduce cash-related crimes.
So it's a way of moving the Nigerian populace from cash dependency, where people carry a whole lot of money in Ghana, must go to a cashless society where things are transparent.
The eNaira, if allowed to operate properly the way it's supposed to be, I think it will go a long way to help us to curb the decadence in the society.
The event featured short training on the use of the eNaira and 50,000 eNaira transferred to each of the 20 beneficiaries who are expected to repay monthly for the period of 6 months.
Now, Nigeria's inflation rises 21.47% in November 2022 from 21.09% in October 2022, says the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS. This is a 6.07% increase compared to November 2021's 15.4%, which means that in the month of November 2022, the central price level was, the general price level was 6.07% higher relative to November 2021, the highest peak in at least 7 years. The NBS stated that the increase in the cost of importation, production, energy and currency depreciation are responsible for the year-on-year increase. The 0.15% increase recorded month-on-month was attributed to the sharp increase in demand usually experienced during the festive season. The food inflation rate also increased to 24.13% on a year-on-year basis, 6.92% higher compared to 17.21% recorded in November 2021. Core inflation, which excludes the prices of volatile agricultural produce, stood at 18.24% in November 2022, up by 4.39% when compared to 13.85% recorded in November 2022. On a year-on-year basis, in the month of November 2022, the urban inflation rate was 22.09%. This was 6.17% higher compared to the 15.92% recorded in November 2022, while the rural inflation rate in November 2022 was 20.88% on a year-on-year basis. This was 5.99% higher compared to 14.89% recorded in November 2021. Now, as inflation hits 21.47% high in November, families have been forced to scale back their Christmas and end-of-the-year spending. And economist Aliu Elias is with me in the studio to discuss this latest development. You're welcome to Business.
Thank you for having me.
Express. Okay, the Christmas season, end of the year spending, how does it affect the economy?
Well, generally, when it comes to festive season, be it Eid or be it Christmas, it always have its own inflationary push itself, because it has to do with cost push inflation. Simply because people want to buy more things, and the quest to buy more things, a lot of people are running to buy same thing at the same time, and because of that there is increase in price. Perhaps there is need to buy goods, food, some people will travel, there is need for more money to purchase more things. So this simply bring in what we call inflation in December, as it were.
Okay, what do you think about the Christmas spending, and what should consumers be doing? What should they be avoiding?
Well, the fact remains that this is a special Christmas, because, you know, if you look at the economy globally, there's a challenge, and because of that, there's what we call I Just Get Back in Nigeria, where people coming from abroad and bringing their money to give and to help the economy. People have more money. There wouldn't be that this year to an extent, simply because if you go to UK, it's not easy there. Inflation there is 40-year high. If you go to America, so virtually the Western world are having challenge of inflation. That is going to trickle down to people that would like it. So they may not even come. Perhaps if they eventually come, they will be careful what they spend. So definitely it's going to reduce what we have in circulation.
And what do you think about well, just finish.
Yes, and locally, maybe you want to talk about locally, purchasing power is also a problem, because if you look at this year generally, people have really have it very, very hard because of purchasing power. Inflation is rising, and it is majorly food-driven inflation. So because of that, people will find it difficult to spend more during this yellow tide.
But don't you think that the new Naira will be won't it be an attraction?
Well, definitely it will be an attraction,
because you know, they will be eager to have the new Naira and even spend it.
Don't you think they also want to have it and keep it and be looking at it? The eagerness to see is not eager to get it and spend, the eager to just see it, hold it, feel it, and just like what you have shown, people are expressing their own opinion on it. This one is good. That's just the main aim. But spending it, people want to be careful. Perhaps you must also remember that we are in December. January is coming, and by the time January comes, people want to pay school fee. That's another challenge that comes with this year. People want to be very, very careful.
Okay, how can one budget for the season?
Well, ideally, that's why people that have organized work have much more opportunity, because people that have organized work will start from January.
What do you mean by organized work?
Thank you. People that work in an office that earn salary, you know, that have a specific amount they earn, because such people would have said every month I'll be keeping for 5,000 naira, so that by the time it is December, I have money to expend it. But people that do not have that will just want to just rush to get and expend like that, and that will have an effect by January. Like I said, January always comes with own challenge. In fact, people mostly say there is no money in January, and the fact just means that there is not a good plan for January. So everyone should try as much as possible to always see January as not bad, but January should be budgeted for special, because you may be paying house rents, you may be paying school fees, a lot of costs to really meet up.
Since you talked about that, how do you keep a low budget?
A low budget.
Considering these things.
Well, as an economist, what I would advise is that you don't buy what you want, you only buy what you need. So anything that is not necessary, there's no point buying it. So you buy what you need that will help maybe food, shelter, those things that are very, very important. You have to shelve those ones that are not important. So you have to prioritize what you need in this season, so that at least you have a backup by January and February as it is.
Okay, do you see monetary policy and rising inflation affecting spending?
Well, definitely, the monetary policy may not that affect the spending, because if you look at this month, this December, January, January is coming up with about 2 monetary policy. One, design of Naira. Two, to reduce the level at which we can withdraw. You know, if you look at these two things, it's coming at a point that even people are cautious rather of what they spend. It won't be it won't affect their spending. It will only raise their consciousness, because what will affect people's spending is the level at which they have the money. Like I said, people that do not budget for this period will definitely find it difficult to spend at this period.
Okay, but let's talk about January. What will it look like with all these fundamentals?
Well, you know, because we have election coming, January will not be like the usual January, because there will be much more campaign. Possibly there will be little change in the economy, because you know, campaign always come with spending. So by doing this spending, it will make people to have some money in their pockets. But if you look at the inflation, you know, we'll carry on the inflation in December. That's what NBS is going to tell us by January. But I assure you it's going to be way high, because now food, there's cost push inflation that is going to reflect by January. But by February, the inflation may be coming down gradually.
But what should we do about that? Inflation, it keeps on going up.
Well,
up and up.
We have a structural...
And it seems like the monetary policy, is it actually yielding the right effect?
If you ask me, controlling inflation is beyond monetary policy itself. A lot of things they need to come into play.
I think we need to talk about
a lot
things.
of things need to come into play.
Tell us about
basically, you know, it's cost push inflation, and that has to do with food. And when we say food is not only is not to get the food, but the insecurity itself is a problem. And remember, we have flood recently.
Yes.
It's going to have a ripple effect on the Nigerian economy over time. Maybe next 3 months, it's got where we're supposed to get some food, we are not getting it, and it will lead to cost push inflation. So we need to look at it structurally to make sure that most of our forex is another thing. You know, forex is getting better, but we must find a way to mitigate. And how do we do that? It's a long run thing, because we have to produce to compete. Because most of our things, we are in a rent economy, that most of our things are not produced there. We take it outside to produce and bring in the finished goods. So this brings a lot of profit. So we must look for short-term, medium-term, and long-term solutions. So it's not what you can.
Let's talk about the short time.
We're looking at the short time. I watched recently what you showed about e-Naira, where CBN is partnering private sector when they are giving out loan. People now go through e-Naira. These are the things that can help people to really understand the policy itself, because when you come up with an incentive for Nigerians will see that yes, they are being considered, and they will key into the policy. So when we are bringing policy, we should look at incentive that will make people to key into it. Perhaps if it is if it has human pace, people will definitely key into such policy.
Okay, thank you very much, Aliu Elias. Thank you for coming to share your thought with us.
Thank you for having me.
Now moving on, let's take a trip to the commodities market. Well, Nigeria's crude oil production is expected to rise to 1.6 million barrels per day by first quarter 2022, according to the Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed. The World Bank's Nigeria Development Update and Country Economic Memorandum in Abuja. The federal government also says the importation of petroleum products into Nigeria will reduce significantly by 2023 with the commencement of operations of the Dangote refinery and the completion of rehabilitation work on the Port Harcourt refinery before the end of next year. Ahmed, who was represented by the Director General, the Budget Office of the Federation, Ben Akabweze, said that Nigeria needs to depart from business as usual policies which cause fiscal pressures such as lower than expected revenue and the rising cost of petroleum or petrol subsidies. yesterday. Oil prices rose in early Asian trade on Friday after falling 2% in the previous session on central bank interest rate hikes, and is poised to end the week higher after a series of positive oil demand forecasts. Brent crude futures rose 36 cents to $81.57 per barrel, while West Texas Intermediate crude futures rose 25 cents to $76.36 per barrel. Both benchmarks are poised to end the week more than 7% higher. The Standards Organization of Nigeria has discovered and confiscated 101 bags of rice from one of the major shops in Lokoja, repackaged in foreign brands. Francis Udojo reports that the action was taken during a market monitoring exercise by the organization.
The products. So some of those products are actually the reason why because we have just discovered some in this warehouse.
And to NGX Friday, or the equities market, trading on the floor of the stocks market ended the week on a positive territory, with the all-share index closing Friday's trading at 49,316.29 basis points. A total of 103.7 million shares in 3,000 deals value at 2.007 billion naira were traded, while market capitalization is 26.8 trillion naira. Now let's join Boss Adeyeba for global stock market update.
Are in red this Friday as investors process the raft of central bank decisions announced Thursday. European markets were marginally down, with all sectors and major bourses posting losses. Tech stocks shared 1.5% to lead the losses, followed by telecoms and financial services. Asia-Pacific market traded mostly lower as recession fears grew. The Nikkei 225 in Japan fell 1.87% to close at 27,527.12, leading losses in the region, while the Hang Seng Index gained 0.42% and the Shanghai Composite dipped 0.02%. U.S. stock futures were lower in early trade as investors responded to data that elevated concerns of a looming recession. Futures tied to the Dow Jones Industrial Average lost 1.2%. The S&P 500 futures lost 1.32%, and the Nasdaq 100 futures also fell 1%. In a continuation of Wednesday's sell-off, markets in Africa remained muted on Friday, with only Tunisia's Tunidex posting a marginal gain of 0.09%.
Well, that wraps Business Express for today. Remember to keep in touch with us, so do send in your comments, observations and suggestions. Also be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NT's channel. You can also communicate with us via our various social media platforms. Business Express returns Monday at 3 p.m. I am Musa Abubakar.